Hi guys, it's Rob and I'm back with another IT386 Intro to 3D Modeling tutorial. And where we left off, basically if you right click on an object, you get a context sensitive menu. If you want to go, now some of the different modes, there's about 6 or 8 of them, but some of the key ones are object mode. This would let you select the whole object. So this is if you have a lot of objects in your scene, or if you want to focus in on one object. Now vertex mode, so a vertex is a point in 3D space, and it's the lowest level of an object. Now vertices only contain an X, Y, Z position in 3D space, and basically going to this mode will allow you to manipulate each specific vertex. So this is good for, if you really want to control where each point on the mesh is located. And now edge mode, well, an edge is a line defined by 2 vertices, so you have your start vertex and your end vertex. And so this is of course useful if you want to manipulate edges. Now the W key is the hotkey to move the object. So if you click the W key, you'll notice that these arrows come up, and then you can move the object along all the different axes. And then the E key is to rotate. So if you click that key when you have an object selected, you'll notice that a little like sphere sort of directional comes up. And if you click and hold on those different points and you rotate it, you move your cursor, you'll notice the object being rotated. Now the R key is the hotkey for scale, and when you hit that, you're going to see a bunch of little boxes pop up, similar to the arrows from the W key, but there's going to be the especially important one is the white box in the middle, as that's the uniform scale. So that's sort of like holding shift in Photoshop and scaling something up or down. The whole thing is going to scale with it, so it's going to be uniform. Now the select tool is used to select objects and components. And you really want to be careful of backfacing. Don't accidentally select components in the back of the object. And I can tell you from having experience with 3D modeling that this happens quite often. Now, the X-ray button lets you see through objects to avoid selecting the back components of what you don't want to. And 3 or more edges can define a polygon. So a polygon is just a face. N-gons have 5 sides or more. You really want to stick with quads, which are 4-sided polygons. Now the game engine, when it's actually calculating how much memory it has to use, it actually breaks your mesh down into triangles. But when you're actually modeling the mesh, you actually want to stick with quads or 4-sided polygons. Now retopology is reforming and building over your mesh a lot. And now faces are one-sided. So if you want to see the normals, you could do display, polygons, face normal. And this will show you which direction the normals are facing. Now one key thing you want to be careful of here is you don't want to turn your mesh inside out. What I mean by that is you don't want to scale or turn your mesh so that the inside is now on the outside, and you'll know this because you'll see black. And when you see black on your mesh, that's actually a really bad thing. That means that some of your normals are pointing inwards. So remember, faces can only be seen either one way or the other. So if you were to import that into the Unity game engine, for example, and you were to look at this object, anywhere where you saw the black will now be basically transparent, because since those faces are basically, they only have one normal direction, right? So it's either pointing inward or outward, and if it's outward, that means the object is visible. So one problem you might run into in Unity is if you don't extrude the faces of your object to leave a little bit of mesh there so that you have each specific face that you want, you're going to run into the problem where when you go into a certain location on your game that you 3D modeled and you didn't really give the walls enough thickness, you may actually end up seeing through the walls in the game, and that's actually a problem that you would run into possibly in your game engine. Now, the outliner is basically the list of the stuff you have in the scene, and there's usually 16 subdivisions of game objects. So usually a good number to stick with on your subdivisions would be 16 for your game objects, because that's just enough resolution where you could see the detail, but also not so much resolution that'll be taxing on the game engine. Now NURBS is a mixture of curves, so you have 2 forms of modeling. You have polygonal modeling and NURBS modeling. And the one we're basically going to be focusing on is polygonal modeling. Now pressing the B key allows you to access the soft selection tool. So basically, if you don't want to just regularly select something, but you want to have a selection that sort of, and actually I'm noticing we're running out of time, so I'll tell you what soft selection is in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching, stay tuned guys, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.